We good?
All right, welcome everybody to a new webinar on a new day. And we're back. The band is back together, Nicholas. So
Oh,
good
it's
to see you.
been a while, man. It's been a while. It's been a busy time of year.
Yeah, crazy. Man, we're wearing the same shirt as well. Look at this.
All right. Well, we're wearing different shirts. They just look the
Yeah,
same.
that's
Mine's a little bit bigger,
nah.
but
But look at
that's
your hair.
well,
I know you were looking to shave it off after my interview with Jared.
that is true. But I was thinking about it. I just didn't want to change my driver's license. Did you hear about that? What does your
Yeah,
driver's license say for your hair color?
I had to go with the option bold.
That is so good.
With an A. I wanted it to be bold with an O.
Yes, that's so good.
Courageous.
But I'm glad I didn't have to shave my head. That would have been tough.
Brilliant. Well, oh, you did do that once. We should tell our friends here.
Did.
Yeah,
Uh,
lost
I
the bet.
love foosball, and I could not get people to play against me because I was just destroying their lives. So I said, okay, I'll play with this person. I play with that person, and they threw the game, and I had to shave my head. I bet that I
Right,
would shave. Yeah. So bad choices.
back in 2013.
Yep. Ugh.
Well, thanks for being with us again, Nick. I know you've been all over the world. We're going to get to that. It fits in nicely with our topic today. But just bear with me. Let's share the screen and get cooking. Today, we're going to talk about prospecting in person, something that you are quite expert at. I know you may not do the self-tooting of the horn, but I
Nope.
know many a time people come away, they contact me and they like, hey, we love Nick. And you've even been given offers. So I wanted to share it with our friends today, the true art of prospecting in person, what that looks like, why it's important, how it differs from maybe a more digital approach. So maybe before we start, Nick, maybe you can, well, this will be our first question actually. Why is prospecting in person so valuable? But I think maybe to give some context, would you mind just sharing a little bit about, how the Padilla grew up? How did you become you?
Ooh,
Because I think that'll play into what we're going to go through today.
absolutely. Uh, Growing up, I'm the son of a salesman,
Yeah.
and a marketer. My father taught me the gift of gab, unfortunately. He said, if you don't use your words, you're not getting anything in this life. And I have taught the same thing to my kids, and unfortunately, the teachers tell me that my kids have the same gift that I had growing up. But it is that, right? Find and learn about somebody, actually care, create a relationship, and create some great opportunities. This year, thankfully, I've had about, and I will have about a 13 different conferences that I'm going to go to,
Yeah.
uh, that I've got to create the opportunity to at least learn about somebody and find a way to figure out how they would fit inside of what we've got here at Boostability.
I love that. Now, I realize this is not on the screen of the question here, but I think maybe it would be useful. Talk us through a little bit about how we determine which conferences might be useful for us. Because I think
Yeah.
that can help people determine for themselves when they've got conferences in their industry or opportunities to connect. What is sort of the criteria that we consider? Because there are obviously a number of conferences we go to. You've been to a number this year, and there are a number that we say no to. And
Yeah.
so what might you say to someone who is looking and evaluating different conferences to attend?
You want to understand who you're looking for. That's the whole reason why you're going to a conference. You want to understand who's going to be there. Are they going to be presenting at the conference, or are
Yeah.
they going to be presented to? And that's where you'll determine, okay, do I need to reach out to somebody in this way or that way? For example, there's conferences where digital marketing agencies will go to learn about what's happening inside of the overall digital marketing landscape, right? They're going to be sitting there, usually will have a booth, and that's where people will come up and will create those opportunities to speak. We'll usually have somebody canvassing uh, off to figure out, who's going to come by our booth, what can we do there. We'll have individual raffles or different ways to get in touch with us. Now, the other one, which can be a little bit more complicated, are when somebody's a presenter.
Right.
You've got somebody you've got this fish. You're saying, okay, wait, this guy's presenting. This is his topic. What I'm going to do is I will sit through the conference. I'll listen to his topic. And then I will be a little bit of a creeper and understand where he's looking and where he's walking and how long he's there. And then I'll try and create the opportunity to speak to him.
Yeah.
And that's as long as I'm paying attention to what they've spoken, I will then say, "Hey, my name is Nick Padilla with Boostability. How are you? I loved when you spoke about, the reference about your dog and how you did XYZ." And then allow him or them to respond to it and then creating an opportunity from there.
So natural but strategic. And I think that plays into the question we did have here is why is prospecting in person so valuable? I nearly didn't make this session today, Nick, because I was at the dentist. I was sweating trying to get here on time. But have you ever had a virtual dentist appointment?
No.
No. I think it would probably be challenging. Maybe some people's doing it somewhere, right? I got a bad tooth and you
Yeah,
get the
exactly. Will
right. It's
you
like,
floss for me?
yes, put it a bit more to the left.
Exactly.
But it's just, as I sat there in the chair, like, I'm like thinking about this webinar we're doing today. And I'm like, some things are just as good as you could get it remotely, you're nowhere close to what it is in person.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, 13 conferences this year, I think you said. You probably, maybe close to 100 in the last, 8, 10 years. What would you say for you is the key piece about being in person? Because there's a massive cost that comes with that, right? There's a lot of sacrifice that we're willing to give up to get somewhere with often a lot less people, right? In terms of dialing consistently through a remote type of prospecting. So thoughts on that,
What
Nick?
what I love about it is you get to build rapport, right? You get to sit and speak with somebody and become a real person rather than this cold email outreach or this phone call that nobody's happy to get, right? You
Yeah.
get to be in front of somebody and you get to see their body language. You get immediate feedback to understand what is going on. On
Well,
top of that, I might have my iPad with me and I can show an example of our reporting dashboard, but I can get and combat any of the questions and you get that immediate answer that you need. That is what I love about this is you just get to speak with somebody and get instant feedback.
yeah, I think that's huge. Uh, that is I know that on the dialing side and your team does it here a lot. There's always a challenge of actually getting to the decision maker, right? Getting
Mm.
past those gatekeepers and at the conferences, the decision makers are often there, right? And so I think that getting face time with someone that we're often not able to get voice time with is a key piece, a key opportunity there. And obviously you're great at that because you come away with conferences with a relationship and having spoken with them in person, and that's obviously a big piece of our intent. So, anything else you wanted to add about the in-person element, Nick?
I think being in person is huge, but behind everything, right? You can be the most amazing person speaking, but you could have a crap product behind you. You could have the world's worst product that you're trying to sell and people can see through it. So just as much as you have to be an in-person and show an actual personality and that you're actually great people behind the product, you still have to have a good product that you're speaking to. And that is the part, and you need to be able to lay that out in a simple way to guide the customer potential opportunity to you to say, this is what we can offer for you and how we can do it. But you can't be scared to speak to anybody. Everybody there is an opportunity.
I love that because you're going back to the core, right? I think you said in person is valuable because we're building rapport, we're being able to see their body language, we're getting immediate feedback, we can demonstrate the products, we're speaking with the decision makers. But all of that is for no avail, right? If the product itself stinks. I
Exactly.
think I shared before, I'm training for my first marathon this week, and people spend a lot of money on nutrition. They spend a lot of money on massages and chiropractic care. They spend
Yeah.
a lot of money on footwear and getting the extra 0.3 of an ounce lighter in the
Aaron,
shoes. And
I can
then
do all of those things. All of those things that you just said. I can do that. But there's no way I would be able to do the marathon at the end of it if I haven't trained for it. If I don't have a good product for a marathon, which is
that's,
exactly
that's not where I was going. What I was going to say
I
is
picked up on it. It was perfect.
the biggest thing is sleep, and it's
Yes.
free.
Yes.
the biggest single denominator that takes us. Yeah, we're just gonna move on. I'm a bad product. All right, so let's kick this back. We are going to go with, is this showing? We got
Yep.
another question. All right, so how do I naturally prospect anywhere? Now, Nick, you're built different, right? That's probably what your t-shirt should say, built different. So I know that you don't necessarily read books about how to prospect naturally because you are natural. But do you mind sharing with our folks here some of the tips that have worked for you that help you focus on the other person? And obviously there's always a science behind it, uh, but you are natural and people really feel that. So
Yeah.
tell us how you. I know you got a cool story to share here because it just blows my mind what you're able to do on this last trip.
It's funny. Do me a favor. Stop sharing your screen, see my ugly mug.
Oh yeah, let's go back.
But
Yeah, big
the
fools.
there's two things, right? Naturally, the Padilla effect, right? I in silence feel uncomfortable. If you're in a class and somebody asks a question, I would rather look like an absolute dunce and say the wrong answer than hear awkward silence that is out there. So if I'm in a spot or an awkward area, if there's a group of people, I might crack a joke. I might say something to make myself feel more comfortable. And if it's at my own expense, I will do it to make sure that that silence goes away. So there's a little bit of psychology behind it, but that allows me to then progress. So I'm getting on this plane last week. I'm going out to Nashville
Yeah.
and I'm sitting on the aisle. And when you're in the aisle and you're the first one on the in the row, you just have to make awkward eye contact with all these people passing by to see whether or not you're standing up, right? So the first, this in ladies coming back, and finally, like after 20 people of the awkward eye contact, like I don't know what I should be doing. She's like, "Oh, I'm sitting there," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, finally, it's about time, right?" And so that's how I broke up the ice where I was sitting next to somebody. Um, she also kept on sneezing. So after the third time, I said, "Would you please stop sneezing?" Oh my gosh, that's so inconsiderate as a joke with that tone because I felt uncomfortable. And we just started talking. I asked her where she was going, and I said that was stupid because we're going to
Same place.
exactly. And then I said, "Well, that's awesome. Are you going for fun? Because we're going to national." She said, "No, I'm going to a conference. I'm in marketing." And because of that, it allowed me to steer and understand where she's coming from. She is located here in Utah, and she wanted to understand more. Now, that opportunity allowed me to say, "Oh, I'm in marketing as well, Boostability." And then I was able to go through, believe it or not, we're pitching her this week, and we'll be able to have the opportunity to sell it. Now, on top of that, another, through the awkward conversation with her, the amount of sneezes, another individual said, "Oh, I'm by the window." And he instantly went to sleep. But as I was doing my pitch later on, the value of partnering with Boostability, he said, "Wait a second. I heard keywords. I heard all these things. What do you do?" And so I ended up having to get two people followed up on from this one conversation while on the plane going to a a conference. The Padilla effect is this: if you care and actually understand about people, and you're not scared to feel uncomfortable or scared to ask people, "Okay, where are you going?" That will create the best opportunity for you to then plug in what you're doing, what your business is. There's so many business owners around. You could have so many conversations. I've had a roofer over to my house, and we've talked about SEO and how we could do different things with SEO. I've had landscapers at the house. There's plenty of opportunities for you to do it. Now, the second portion that I want to talk to you, Aaron, is this was I started at Boostability in 2012. In 2013, I went back home to Colorado, and I've got two friends there. They're Sabrina and David. Sabrina is a hairdresser. And at the time, I had this amazing, amazing supervisor named Aaron Presbury. And he was telling me, "You need to get out of the weeds and not look at reality TV or not look at this and dedicate your time to something that will help you move on." And I'm trying to be this good little lad and not being stuck in those things. And Sabrina's over there reading a People magazine, right? And then David's over there just looking at sports and all of this other things. And I'm like, why are you reading that crap? Right? Thinking I'm so smart. And she's like, I'm a hairdresser, Nick. And I realized that the more that I read this junk, the more I have opportunities to relate to my clientele. And I've realized that the more that I understand about random things that's going around on around the world, the more I can relate to the individual people that are sitting with me. And my people actually come back for more visits because not only are they just getting their hair did, they're
Yeah,
also
beheaded.
speaking with people. You wouldn't understand the hair getting done, but
No,
uh
just fine.
but that's what it is. It's creating that relationship and relating to people. So I'll ask about their weather, I'll ask about their sports teams, I'll learn about individual sports, I'll find out about political random things if I'm going to a different country. I was just in Paris, I learned about the Olympics, I learned about the crazy river that's going through Paris. There's plenty of things that I could bring up topically so that if something happens inside of a conversation that I overhear, I could be that awkward dude saying, "Oh my gosh, I read this crazy thing about a website that was put up about XYZ." It allows me to get into the conversation.
It sounds like really you actively listen because obviously that's how you know what someone's interest is, and
Exactly.
and then you're just naturally interested, like genuinely interested in someone else's life, and that's why they open up to you. You know, you as you said, the Padilla effect. I've had people tell me, right, when we visited people on site, they visited, and I follow up, and I ask them for any feedback or how things went, and they're like, "Oh, it's just amazing." You know how it is. You guys got the Padilla effect, so
It's
that's what
great.
it's all about.
It's fun.
I
It's
was
really
laughing as well because when you said about naturally just talking with anybody, took my mind back to when we were in Sydney and you asked that random couple who were visiting from another country if you could have a photo with them.
growing
And the
up. We
wife
always
was like, "Yeah, sure." And the guy's face was, "Huh?"
yeah. Growing up, my dad and I, we'd always have these things. I dare you can't do this. And it would always be like, oh, like going to Dairy Queen and asking for water with six straws, right? Or just random things. And it was just, how do you say rhinoceros in this situation? And it's always trying to create the interesting way to get things done. But it's fun. It's really, really fun.
Alrighty, so how do I attend a conference and be the one person that everybody remembers? What you got for us there, Nick? Because there's
So
lots of people at these, right? I mean, we're gonna go. You're about to go to England. There's gonna be what, 4,000 people?
yes.
So how do you be the one they remember?
So the way that they will remember you is by opening your mouth. Whether or not you're an introvert, extrovert, it is actively looking and finding the opportunity to get the answers that you need. It could be, my name is Nick Padilla. I'm looking for the following. What would you do in this situation when there's questions and answering opportunities? Ask questions. You should be going to these conferences seeking knowledge to make yourself and the people around you better or your whole company better. You need to ask those questions. And when you ask those questions, be lively. Ask an actual thing that gets that curiosity going in the presenter's mind, right? Ask the question that nobody's willing to ask, but they're all probably thinking it themselves. And then if anybody has any questions, you can say, if you have any questions, come and talk to me. Or if you have anything else that they to offer with this question, come and talk to me. But number one, you have to be speaking. You have to participate. If you don't participate, it will nothing can come to you. And then don't be scared to network. That's the whole purpose of this conference is for you to go and speak with the people around you. And the larger your network becomes, the better opportunities that you've got.
Yeah, I love that. And I think part of the message that I'm getting from you is that, you've got to be strategic. You've also got to do it in your way, your brand, right? Our message today is not to do things the Nick Padilla way, but it's to learn the principles that you've mastered and then to get out there and speak with people.
Absolutely.
No one wants to have a business relationship with a keyboard warrior, right?
Exactly.
Connect with people.
Absolutely. There was this lady this last conference that I went to, and she asked questions, and she was incredibly introverted, you could tell, but she asked questions trying to understand how to make her business better. and she wanted to get this expert's opinion. So she said, I got another question. I'm here. I want to pick your brain. And then he literally said at the end of it, I would love to sit down with you after this and answer your questions and learn more about what you provide. Just doing that alone, and she was just asking simple questions and
Yeah,
saying, you're an expert. I'm here because of you. Help me understand.
love it. Yeah, that's brilliant. Any thoughts for somebody that's preparing for a presentation? I know you've done that a few times. Any key pieces that someone should aim to do? Because usually you have 5, 8, maybe 10 or 12 minutes, but
Yeah.
it's kind of punchy. It passes fast.
So there's two presenters that I really like. There's people who have actual stories that
Yeah,
tell you this is, in my experience in this, I helped this plumber get to XYZ. This is how we did it. This is the dialogue. This is how it
right.
worked.
Like a
So
case study.
case study type presentations, uh, and then also relating it to something that somebody might understand in a more simplistic way, right? Analogies, those things always go very far. I like to speak in analogies. Sometimes it's annoying by how many analogies I've got. The other one is using too many slides. They're
Yeah.
there for the presenter and the presentation of what they've got. Don't use too many freaking slides. That's the worst. There's one guy who had 10 minutes and over 60 slides
And they
to
have
show.
paragraphs on them.
It was just like, I'm not going to read this and then pay attention to you. They're there for you. Be reasonable and be personable, and you'll be able to do some great things. And then if you are going to use slides, make it as comical, make it as funny as possible, or show strict data that is quick and to the point.
Yeah.
But do not make it towards the story that everybody has to read.
Yeah. I always said slides don't win a presentation. Slides don't sell a client. Slides are visually there to support the presenter. People
Yeah.
buy you, right? Not the slide. And
Yep.
so yeah, I love slides that have few words, more images. Again, if it's data, then show the data, but then you're going to tell the story
Yep.
behind the data.
Yep.
Alrighty, let's get to I think this might be our last one. Love to talk about the different types. So what are the common types of biz dev people at a conference? And what I thought it might be fun here, Nick, is to maybe talk through some of these personality types, right? Because we all see them, right?
Yep.
So I know you've prepared a few things. You want to some good and some not so good. And it's not that everybody, we're looking really for a blend here, but you
Yeah.
want to talk us through these common types of
Yeah.
business people.
And sometimes you have to be strategic. Sometimes I'm one and sometimes I'm the other. So you've got the
Sure.
networker. Somebody, their approach is to focus on building actual connections, relationships. Often when you're a networker, you're not playing the quick game. You're not trying to be this pushy thing that I'll speak to. It's more, I want to create a relationship so that if in 2 or 3 years, sometimes 8 years, they come to me and they say, I need you. I finally have the solution. And that literally happens. But you need to make sure that you're more focusing on the relationship and nourishing it. And sometimes somebody will say, you know what? You actually need to speak with Nick with Boostability. I just saw him this last weekend. And you'll get those types of opportunities. It creates lasting impressions, valuable contacts that you'll have for years at a time. But you need to make sure that you're active. Sometimes I will write note of like, hey, I just spoke with this guy. He's an avid Texans fan. He lives in Houston, but he used to work for the Rockets or something like that. And then you can talk about that later on the next time that you speak to him. I naturally remember it just because I actually like speaking with people. And so
Yeah.
it's fun. Pushy salesperson. I think when you're at a conference and you see that guy in that little
Slick back hair
slick back hair, but you also have like the bad carpet level like coat,
with the
and it has
pads.
like the weird like button that's like an X on it. Uh, and then it does have the patches, of course, on
Patches.
the elbows, but it's somebody that they know, you know what, I would not trust that guy babysitting my kids, let alone sharp objects. Uh, I don't want to speak to that individual. They're going to try and push stuff on you. You
I
can
think
tell
you
that
meant
they
that the other way around. I wouldn't
uh,
trust them with sharp objects, let alone babysit on my.
exactly. It is just you can tell it's an instant turnoff. It's like this guy is gonna try. And usually those are the people as soon as you walk into a room, they're the first ones to speak to you because they've already burned the rest.
And do
Uh,
you know what they lead with?
what's that?
When they speak, it's about their stuff, right?
Exactly.
And yeah, it's a put off, right? Slick back sales guy.
Yep. The last one's a thought leader. Uh, when you can say, you know what, we come from a level of understanding or knowledge of what's happening in a specific space, in our case, SEO, you are the thought leader. You're bringing something to the table that everybody can listen and then distribute amongst their network that they've got. But being a thought leader, it helps establish credibility, quality, effectiveness, and then we utilize panel discussions. We will also do webinars like this. We'll participate in other webinars and bringing our knowledge to the table. The last one is a wallflower. I love and hate this one. It's ineffective in certain circumstances, but if you use it right, it is effective. Uh,
Okay.
if you're just there, like trying to be a sponge, but you're not absorbing anything, you've just got soggy shoes, it's not going to help you out at all, right? What I like to use the wallflower approach is if you are a networker, but you're creating those opportunities and you see just somebody's getting pestered by the pushy salesman,
Uh-huh.
sometimes I will go and save that person from the pushy salesman. I will
Yeah,
go and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about what we were talking about earlier. And that if you're reading the body language right,
that's brilliant.
you can actually see somebody who's getting bombarded. And this is like it's kind of like a hitch dating thing, right? Where you'd be like, but then you just leave them after that. And then with time, later on in the conference, they're gonna come back to you and say, thank you so much. That was an awkward situation. You saved me from, the guy who's smoking a pack a day and has like three coffees in him. We actually will use the wallflower approach just to save people from awkward conversations. Or if you're reading the body language, you can say, you know what, I'm gonna save this person, I'm gonna speak to him later.
Love it. All right, so the networker is good.
Yep.
The sleazy sales guy, not so good.
No bueno.
The thought leader, there's good pieces there. And
Yeah,
then wallflowers, kind of there's good or bad. Obviously, you don't want to go to a conference if your purpose is not to engage with anyone.
exactly.
Fantastic. Well, Nick, any thoughts in closing? Any last stories that come to mind? I know you're off to
Yeah.
conference in the UK, one in Croatia coming up.
Yeah, I think for me, it all comes back to if you are real, people will see you. If people can sniff through the bad actors and the people who are fake, or if somebody who's it's their first time presenting, or if it's their first time at a conference and they're trying really hard and they've got their pitch memorized and they don't know how to function otherwise, people can see it. But if you're real and you say things like, "Oh, where are you from? Oh, talk to me about this." Before getting into business, people can relate to you more and do more. That's the most important thing.
All comes down to trust, right? You
Exactly.
can't buy it, you can't shortcut it. You have to live it and build it, and it takes time. But that is here. Well, that's what we're here to do. Build the
Yep.
trust, work with people long term. Well, thanks so much, Nick. Thanks for coming back. Let's just share with our friends here. Coming up, October 29th, so in 3 weeks, and that's due to some travel schedule we got going on here. We're going to have a fantastic session about making the phone ring for local businesses. That's going to be at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And I know you're really excited for this one, Nick.
It'll be great.
Uh,
We'll see. We'll go through all of this and we'll see different ways to be able to help our partners and the individuals who are trying to get the phone to ring. That's the most important thing.
Make it happen. Phone ring.
I love
Important
it.
thing. All right. Take care, my friend.
Have a
Safe
good day.
travels.